should probably go live. Hello, do let me know if you can hear both my voice and the music in the comments. Just let me know, just type a little thing. Yes, we can hear you. No, we can't. That would be great. That would be helpful, and then we'll kick off. And until that point, we're just gonna relax. Just gonna relax. Oh, and the commentary is too far away. I can't actually see it from where I am. Error. Awesome. That's a good start. We can see you. Sound is okay. Yes, we do. Good. Great. Great. Just give me a moment to settle. Great. Right, something special is happening that you're not aware of right at the moment is that I might be simultaneously streaming to Facebook. I have no idea if I am or not. I just happened to find this button within vMix and discovered that I can stream simultaneously to up to 3 places. So I thought, well, I'd whack in Facebook then. So hi, Facebook people. I don't know where that is or which Facebook page in particular that might be on. Let me have a look. I really don't know how that works. But anyway, that'll be interesting to find that later perhaps. Maybe other people will stumble upon it. Who knows? Maybe it's under that. Oh look, there's a live button. Look at that! Look, I'm on Facebook too! That's just so exciting. I don't know whether that's worthwhile or not, but hello to Facebook. I think there's a whole 2 people on there who are unexpectedly watching me live stream. But I thought, you know, it might be good for my mum or something like that. So I'll just go back to YouTube where people normally hang out. So hello, welcome. This is Molten Music Technology, and I'm Robin Vincent here, your host for an evening of chat and talk about music stuff, synthesizers, bits and pieces, gear, that sort of thing. If you've never been here before, you're very, very welcome. We just kind of chill, relax, talk, or mostly I talk. I'm not going to beam in any live people from anywhere. You are welcome to chat amongst yourselves in the chat, which is what you tend to do, which is lovely. And you can ask questions and I can ignore them, and we can go on having a merry time like that. So you're welcome just to watch, to take part, and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, how you doing? Okay, getting a bit of buffering, are you? Okay, I'm just going to make a small adjustment. I mean, it may be that because I'm streaming to Facebook as well, that makes a difference. I have no idea. Is it sending out twice as much data? Could be. Right, got it. So that's why people use Restream. See, I thought to myself, oh, what are these people using Restream for? That just seems odd. That's a load of money. That's like another bit of thing. But of course, I suppose it makes some kind of logical sense that if I am streaming from here into 2 different platforms, then because the software is local, the software is having to send it out twice. So yeah, I don't have the bandwidth for that. So Facebook, it was fun. Thank you for that. But never mind, we'll continue on as we are, and we've already wasted 10 minutes just like doing nothing and farting around, so I'm sorry about that. But anyway, here we are, back again. So, what's going on? Well, first of all, the very, very sad news is that I've hurt my back. I have a legacy of back trouble, sadly, and because of that I've had to take some rather serious pills today. Otherwise I can't really do anything at all, unfortunately. So I'm on some really high powered pills, which means I cannot drink anything other than water, which I've got here. So if you've brought your own alcohol, thank you. I appreciate the support for me in our drinking games together, but sadly this evening it's just water for me. And also it probably means that I'm not going to survive the usual couple of hours that we do, because whew, that's just like too much. But I'll stay here chomping away for as long as I can, and we'll see how we go. Alright, see how we go. But first of all, I'll just have a quick fiddle here. You can hear it, yeah? What is running at the moment is my favourite thing of the week, of the month, of the year so far, which is the M185, the RYK sequencer. This fella here, I got the kit version and I built it, did a video on that people have enjoyed, and I'm very much enjoying its general expression of voltage. It's just very simple. It's running a sequence that you can hear, I think. And if you're not familiar with this kind of sequencer, let me destroy my little thing. So what I like about this sequencer is the very fact that you can gate it differently. You can hold notes, you can have short notes, you can have lots of different notes, and you can also skip notes as well. So if I put all this into one note at a time, you've got these different switches down here that allows you to set different gates. So there's 8 notes. I can turn them off. Or I can have them play long notes. And other little bits in between. It's just brilliant. And at the moment I've got it set up to sort of 16 steps, and it's taken 2 steps for each one, which doesn't make any sense to say it out loud, but that's just how it is, because you can lengthen the steps up to 8 actual steps within a step. So for instance, I can have this step here hold for 8 whole beats, and then have that either play a note, play more than one note, 8 notes. It's really, really interesting. An interesting thing about it is that you quickly get out of time with yourself because you're adding in steps. So it goes from a simple 8-step loop into 24 steps, 17 steps, 3.5 steps. You know, whatever you like. It's a bit weird like that because you're adding in extra pulses, extra beats for each step, and then suddenly it stretches out and it no longer matches up with all that percussion you've done. The other thing you can do is you can split it into two. So I'm now running a 4-step sequencer out here and a 4-step sequencer out here. But of course it's not 4 steps, it could be a lot of more different steps depending on how many steps I put within each step. So there you go, I just wanted to throw in a bit of a demo of that. That was quite nice. I'm enjoying that tremendously. I'll have a video coming up on that sometime soon, next week I hope, when I get down to sort of dig really into it and give you a proper full type review. So let's, I can't see what's going on. I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm on drugs, and so you'll have to sort of bear with me this evening. Let's move that in a little bit. Crash, sorry about that. Let's see who's in the house. Hello, Andrew, Alt V7, good to see you. Magnin, good to see you. Tanuki, good. See, hi, how you doing? Thanks very much for the sympathy, I appreciate that. Ken, you're on the white wine. You really are pushing the boat out this evening, I have to say. Okay. Dried ginger. Really? What? Oh, okay, so Facebook wasn't as choppy. Interesting. So it's sacrificing YouTube, do you think? Maybe it's the who's behind all the money. That's, I guess, where it is. Maybe we'll try that again another time. Maybe we'll just do a Facebook one. Whoa, that would be a bit scary. Okay. Good to see you, Greg. Hi, how you doing? Good to see you here. Excellent. Sam, great. What modules do you use most often on your Eurorack, and which modules do you rarely or no longer use? Just curious. Really good question. I'm constantly thinking about this because I'm I'm in an unreal situation. It feels like my audio is too high. 1, 2, 2. No? Okay. Tell me if it distorts, obviously. Yes, I'm in an unusual situation because I'm a reviewer and a YouTuber, amongst other things. It affects what I have in my rack. So I often get something new coming along and I want to make a video of, and so I focus on that entirely, and that becomes my world for a little bit. I'm just all about that one particular module. Excuse me, like at the moment, this is here, the M185 is right here. And one of the reasons why I bought this little case is simply because I was fed up with taking my main rack apart all the time, taking things apart, putting things back in for when I'm doing reviews and demos of stuff. And so the idea is to have this little case here to be my current review demo case. So whatever it is I'm making a video on that week, that month, is going to sit in here. So at the moment it's the M185. That's what I'm focusing on, and until I've made my review video of that, that's going to stay here. It may continue to stay here. No, that's not the plan. The plan is that I move that into the case proper, assuming that I'm happy to keep on using it, and then something else will come in here. The next thing on my list is the Ratchet, which is playing all these drums that we were hearing a minute ago. It's a drum machine. It's a really great, simple drum machine. Well, it's got a lot of complexity in it that I haven't looked at yet, but on the surface of it, It's a beautifully simple thing that is so incredibly useful that actually I use that all the time at the moment. That's a ratchet from Stocky. I need to work out how you pronounce that. There's a lot of stuff that I don't use because, so this question trying to revolve around the idea of having something small. And then when I focus on something small, I make an awful lot of music or patches or riffs or loops or something from that one piece of gear. Like, for instance, I've been reviewing the Erica Synths Fusion modulator amongst the VCA and the VCF, which I've got in here. And I spent a few hours with the modulator just making noises and stuff with this as the focus, and you can make an enormous amount of music with just a single module. Well, patched into a few other bits and pieces, obviously, but as one module as your focus. And that I like doing that, and it reminds me that you don't need a massive rig. You don't need a massive rig. You tend to be more creative with just a handful of things. Unless you're trying to build and layer and create something larger, actually a small case with a few things in it is better somehow, more engrossing. I find at least that I tend to get into that a lot more. So that's been interesting. And I need to remind myself of that, because I was looking at this again today and I had a lot of my really long patch cables plugged into it, which I thought I really liked. And I started pulling things out, and it started becoming clearer and clearer that I need to, rather than trying to work around something that's already a bit patched, it's to take things out more often, start fresh, start with a couple of things, just work on a couple of things. But the things that I tend to fall back on all the time, fall back on the quad quantizer, use that a lot. I use the Jove filter a lot. I use the Bafako even VCO a lot. I have to say that the M185 has really brought me back to the black VCO, that and the Fusion modules that I was doing. The black VCO, I was kind of out of favour with it for a while because it just didn't seem to be making the right noise, and that seems weird, but so I ignored it for quite a while. But I brought it back in, and this is what, again, I'm using here for the bottom end. And it's great. It's a really nice little oscillator. So things come and go, I suppose, is what I'm trying to say. I don't use a random rhythm very much, although I could. Again, if I sit down with it, I can do awesome things with it. I don't tend to use the Euro delay, the Eventide one. I can't really tell you why. I don't use the wavetables much. I find that I just like analog sounds. So I've got a graphic VCO, which is actually not in the rack here at the moment, and the wavetable one from Erica Synths. I don't really use them very much. Although, again, occasionally I will check it out and have a look and have a play, and it's nice. I tend to use a Lattice a lot. I use a Batumi a lot. I use the Variegate 4 Plus a lot. Things like that. So, it varies. It varies depending on what I'm doing. So at the moment, once I've done the M185, that should hopefully find a permanent place in my rack. And then I'll move on to something else. I do have the Bafako Perkle coming along as well as a kit. I need to build that, put that in. So that's also going to be interesting. And that definitely needs a place. But there's sort of no way that I'm buying any more rows. I can't do that. So I'm going to have to come to a point where I'm either going to move some modules on or sell them, give them away or whatever. I don't know. In order to refine the setup, because I am always looking at ways to simplify as well as evolve the system so that there's only things in the rack that are things I'm actually using. Like I've got, what have I got? I've got a sequential switch, because that's staring. I don't hardly ever use it. I hardly ever use a sequential switch, but I know that in my head I want to do chord changes. I want to do key changes, chord changes, transposition. And I know that that's going to be useful for that. So that keeps knocking around looking at me saying, come on, learn something about this, learn something. And I will. So I hope that answers your question a little bit. Pills, yes. Where did I get that original question from? Oh, who knows? Ugh, get out of it. So, oh yes, I already spoke about white wine, Ken. Yeah, well done. The KSP, yeah. No, I will do a video on it. Yes, I did at the last live stream we did. I got it out and we had to play with it first time, and that was quite nice, very nice. Again, I'm caught in a slight paradox when you review things like I do. Your play space, your studio doesn't often stay the same for very long. Another piece of gear comes along, you focus on that and play on that, and other things get brushed aside. So rarely you find things are properly connected in. I'm thinking, oh, it'd be really good to use that on this and this. Oh, but that's on that shelf over there, or that's gathering dust over there. I need to plug that back in. Oh, I can't even find the power supply to my RD8, for instance. I think I found it. I'm just not convinced that's it. But anyway, things like that. So it gets, what am I trying to say? I don't know. I'm trying to say that, yes, I mean to do a video on it because I want to focus on it. I want to make some music with it. And it's just a matter of having things available and ready and plugged in to run with it. So yes, I hope to do a video of the KeyStep Pro soonish. I have other things to get through first, I think. But yes, that's definitely on the list. So yes, I'm going to have a play with that more. Yeah. See, the difficulty is I don't have any lack of ideas as far as making video goes. It's purely having the time to actually sit down and make them happen. So plenty to come. Oh yes, nice Spanish red, hey? Well, good for you. I had some really nice beer. I had some Piston Head beer, which is nice. I was looking forward to it, and it was like I couldn't sit still, I couldn't stand up, I couldn't sit down with this flipping back business. So I found this old pack of pills in the back of the cupboard that I had from last time that I was laid down with it, and I thought, sod it, so I better take some of those. And then reading the packet going, no, don't drink. Oh no, really? Oh, I mean, I could just get really drunk. I mean, that's another sort of way of easing the pain, but I had a whole day to get through, so I don't know. All I know is, I mean, any of you who are familiar with having a troublesome back, it's just going to take a few weeks. That's all there is to it. I'm just going to have to grin and bear it, and in a few weeks' time, it'll start easing up, and I'll be able to throw my children around again. Yeah, that kind of thing. Ho hum. And I'd love to say there was some dramatic reason for it as well, but no, I think it came about because I sat on the wrong sort of sofa. We decided to sit on the sofa in the kitchen that we've got, which is nice, a nice sofa, to do some Zoom chats and live chatting to people last Sunday, and probably sat there for 3 hours doing that sort of thing. And when I got up, I could hardly move. It should be fighting a battle or doing a kung fu move or chopping wood or lifting a car or something, but no, it's sitting on a sofa is what does my back in. Dan the Man says, just purchased an 8th Instruments Complete Control S49. I've got one of those under here. I'm having trouble getting familiar with everything. Yeah. I know you did a video on it. I need to check it out. Good, great. That's what I like. That's the sort of question I like. That's not a question. It's just a statement of intent, and that's fine. Yeah, go and check that out. I would say that the Complete software has probably improved and changed slightly since I did that video. I probably need to revisit it, I imagine. Or is there a Complete 13 on the horizon, do we think? Don't know. But, oh yeah, see, I do have other... But before I do it, I've got this thing to review as well, the Sensel Morph. Keep seeing more and more videos out there on it, so people are getting hold of it and definitely having a play. And I have plans for this, plans for that coming up soon. That's number 3 or 4 on my list, I think. Do. Oh, hang on. I missed some important things. I must be behind already. Hey, Noise Bleeder, how you doing? Wombi, oh, okay. What is that? Well, it's just a bit of messing about. Boo, boo, boo. Can the M185 doubles as a tease made? I don't believe so. No. In fact, if I'm trying to find fault with it, which I'm not yet, it's that there's not a whole lot of in-out, you know. Because I've been thinking about transposition and chord changes, and thinking, well, you know, it could have a CV in, a transpositional CV in, or maybe it has something in that, and I haven't really worked it out. It does have MIDI in and out, so maybe there's something there which could be used. I don't know. I haven't looked into it deeply enough yet. But no, it doesn't make T. It doesn't. We'll do some more on it later. Yeah, no, I'm not sick. I just got a bad back. That's all. You wish streamers would clearly state the product brand and model, not just this thing. Possibly. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. It's a good point. Maybe I should do more of that. I'm sorry. I mean, as far as a live stream goes, as far as our Sunday night post Molten monthly live stream goes, I just kind of have a bit of a natter. You know, I'm not focused on anything in particular. We're just fiddling about, having a poke around and sort of enjoying ourselves. As opposed to, I'm not trying to do a proper demo or anything. Although, I mean, I started off this live stream with almost what one would call a proper demo. Which was unusual for me. But, so yeah, I'm sorry if I haven't stated anything correctly or whatever. Ask me about it afterwards. I'm very good at responding to comments in YouTube. I mean, obsessionally so, I would say. Obsessedly so. No, don't ask me about the pronunciations of stochastic or stotastic or stopostic or sochastic. Let's just call it probability, shall we? Subharmonicon. Do I have the Stasis Leak by FC or the Micro OC? About to build two of these bad boys. Stasis Leak has almost no demos online. No. Stasis Leak, don't know what that is. No idea what that is. I'll happily put demos online of it if someone would send me one. The OC, no, I have zero, I think, is the amount of interest I have in an Ornament and Crime module. I can't see the appeal. I'm sure behind that black, featureless screen and lack of interaction is something awesome. Because it's a very, very popular module. Everyone has one, and I just have a blank in my head about it, and it's yet to. No, I can't see the point. It's like a disting, you know. It's like a disting. This is what happens to those sorts of modules. It just looks, you know, it ends up there. It doesn't even have room in the thing. I mean, I've got a gap here, but for some reason it doesn't fit in it. I mean, I pull it out when it's useful. But no, I haven't found a use for an OC as yet. Thank you very much, though. It may change, of course, in the future. I do change, and you can't... I guess one of the downsides of putting yourself on the internet is people can say, oh, well, in 2016 you said... It's like, well, don't know. I may have done, but things change. Did you find drum sounds you'd like to put in the rack? No, I haven't really. My drum sounds are still the Pico. I think it's a bit quiet today. Is that just me? Dare I turn this up a little bit? No, that does bugger all. I must have turned it down somewhere else. Oh, there we go. So I've got the Pico Drums 1, still. Got the hi-hat from 2HP. Sweet. The ratchet is just brilliant. You just poke a couple of buttons and it changes something, you know. And go back to the that fella. So I have those two things, and I got the marvellous, which I still don't understand. It's a noise-making machine, and I keep trying to make percussive noises out of it, and sometimes it sort of does something, sometimes it sort of doesn't. I don't know. So yeah, I am in need still of just a simple bunch of drum sounds. Obviously, the drum 2 from Erica said springs to mind. Yeah, but the plan is to build the Bafako Perkle, which should, as my understanding goes, it should create drum sounds out of other sound sources. So I'll be able to use something like, I don't know, some white noise or pink noise out of this module here that I rarely use, stick that in it, and it's creating some kind of thing, some kind of percussive thing for me. So that's what I want to look into next before I start buying some of those procs or the, some other kind of percussion module. Oh yeah, I do have the blippy thing, the 104. I've used that quite a bit. I haven't got that one wired in just at the minute though. But that's another source of drums, I suppose. So yeah, still, not quite happy with that yet, but we'll see. Where did I buy that little case? This little case? This is a nifty case that I repainted with black car paint. And it's, unfortunately, it's already coming off a little bit, which I'm a bit annoyed about. But I might have to give it another coat. But yeah, it's a Create Audio nifty case. They're all right. Good value, cheap, good light. I like it. It's sitting well on my little stand here. Loving that. Fixed rails, which is a new experience for me. Everything else I've got is movable rails, which I actually find a lot easier than this fixed nonsense. But anyway, there we go. Because you want to move it around, you've got to take it all out. But so yeah, that's what that case is. Thanks for the question. What are my thoughts on the Behringer Neutron? Cool, that's an oldie, isn't it? Behringer Neutron. It's all right, isn't it? It's a 3340 oscillator based little fella that sounds like a lot of other fellas. It's got a lot of patch points, so it reveals a lot about itself, and you can access a lot of it. Yeah, it's fine. Sounds all right. Nothing wrong with that at all. I'm not particularly into that size. I mean, I've got a Mother 32, so I must be into that size of thing to some degree. But Behringer releasing them all in that same sort of form factor is, fair enough. It just, it's a little restrictive when you don't have to do it that way. Yeah, whatever. Any recommendations for a malt? Yes, I would recommend the dupe from Tenderfoot. The Tenderfoot dupe. There you go. 1 in, 3 out, 3 times. If that's what you're asking. It's good. It looks nice as well. I really like the little front panel design and the colour. It's just this slight gold, greedy goldy colour. It's really nice. I like it. VCA. What? A multi-VCA. All right, wrong question then. I don't know. I'm no expert on VCAs. I've got a Veils, which is great for channel VCA. I've got a VCA or two built into the Delta V, which is sort of an envelope stroke VCA thing, useful module. Apparently there's a new version of that coming along soon, which is interesting. Because I like it, it's useful, but it's not perfect. Not perfect. Actually, that is more or less it. I do not have an abundance of VCAs, and I know I'm supposed to. I mean, I've got this here, the Erica Fusion VCA, which is nice, but it's really not a VCA. It's better at doing other things than it is at being a VCA. It gets a bit... you get a bit lost, or you feel like you're not using it if you're using it as a VCA, which is true, because it's much more of a wave shaper type thing. So there's more interesting things going on in here than originally meets the ear, I would say. So yeah, I should probably have another Veils. I mean, a quad VCA which gives you a decent CV control over it and gives you silence and volume and is normal down itself, so you can use it as a bit of a mixer, so you only have to have a single out, don't have to have individual outs. All those sorts of things are very, very useful. yeah, I don't really have any strong opinions on them, and I need to have more of them, I imagine. So I'm probably way behind. You've probably all wandered off and done something else by now. Don't worry. Is the Cassitronic VCO? Yes. Infinite Machinery. Yes, it is. It's still here. It's here. Yeah, that gets some use. It does. It sits there next to my Bafaco. And those two plus the STO, Make Noise STO, I use them quite a lot. I mean, honestly, I tend to use the Cassitronics one as a modulator for other things. So I tend to lean towards using the Bafaco. I really love the even output on that. And so I tend to use the other one to stuff into it for sync or ring modulation or FM, that kind of thing. So it gets a lot of use in that field of things. And the higher note I had going on here was the STO. That one. See, this is now on random gate. That's quite nice. Another thing I discovered today, right? I discovered that I understand delay a lot better if I turn off ping pong mode. So I've got this Erica Synth stereo delay, which is excellent. And I remember when they sent it to me to do a video on, which I haven't done because I'm awful, but I will do. But they sent it to me and I played with it. I thought, this is great, this is great. Then I came back to it again at another point going, I don't understand this at all. It's really not quite doing what I thought it was. And then I plugged it in and then I wired it in as a send on the mixer and played with it another time, went going, oh, this is fantastic. This is all I ever want from a delay. And then I come back some other point and go, I don't understand it at all. And I've been going around in circles with it. And I've realised that it's the ping pong switch. When I put it to ping pong, I then cease to understand it, which doesn't make sense because ping pong to me, sitting at a DAW and mixing sense, is just making the delay go bing bong, bing bong, bing between my speakers sitting there. But when I'm over here, which is away from my speakers, I'm not really sitting in a stereo space, it gets completely lost. So you don't get what you expect to hear as a delay. And so I've been scratching my head about it and ignoring it a bit. But then I turned off the ping pong today and suddenly, ba-doom, it's back as a delay. So yeah, sorry. So I'm loving it again now. So I feel like I can properly do a review of it now, but I'm not going, I don't understand why it doesn't work to myself all the time. Simple things, you know, simple revelations that I have every day. I don't know about you, but every day I'm discovering something that just makes me go, wow! But that's because my brain is so empty that there's lots of room in there for new discoveries. Every moment a new discovery. Yeah, my sequential switch is in fact a Dopefer one. What about the chair you're using? Yeah? Well, this was the poshest chair I could find at the time, trying to find a chair for my back, and this, I thought, I don't know, I invested in it, I thought that's really going to sort me out, and it hasn't been too bad, but I don't think there's any. I don't think there's my experience of having a bad back, because I've had a bad back for 20 years, and there's no cure for it. It just sometimes happens, and sometimes it's okay and it's just sore for a little bit. Sometimes you are flat on your back and you can't move. That's just the way of things. And it seems to me that it happens to me once a year, maybe. It hasn't been quite this bad, I think, for a couple of years. Which is why I still have some pills left from the last time it went really, really bad. So it's just, all these things help. I mean, the way I sit has changed. I sit properly on everything except for that bloody sofa last week. So, it's just one of those things. Would you say the 4MS RCD kit would be too much for a first DIY build? What's an RCD kit? 4MS 4MS RCD kit. Rotating clock divider module. Is that one with lots of lights on it? No, I don't think so. Doesn't look difficult. I mean, I can tell that just by the price, because it's like 70-80 quid. That's bound to be simple, isn't it? Genius clock divisions. Clock dividers rather, are fantastic, without a doubt. Yeah, no, it looks pretty good. It looks pretty fine, I would say. It doesn't look difficult to me at all. I mean, it's really difficult to know what's good for a first build. I've had a little bit of conversation with that online recently, and you've just got to start somewhere. And my recommendation for people out there trying to start their first Eurorack DIY module would be to get something cheap-ish. You want it to be, I would say you want it to be relatively cheap, but you want it to fulfill a function which you need. Because, I mean, I hear people say, oh, yeah, just get something crappy to practice on. No. Get something awesome, but cheap, So if you do ruin it, it's not the end of the world. But if you succeed, you don't want to get to the end of it and go, oh, great, it works. It's a bit crappy thing that I don't really want, but it works, hooray. No, you want to get to the end where you go, I flipping built this, look, and it's going to revolutionise my rack. You want that feeling. You want the feeling of, yes, I've completed something, and yes, this is awesome, and yes, aren't I awesome, and yes, I'm going to go and do some more. That's what you want. I think if you sort of find an old broken telly and practice soldering on it, that's not going to get you anywhere. Because soldering, soldering, funnily enough, I wrote an article on soldering for Sound on Sound magazine. You wouldn't believe it, would you? Me. I did that like Friday, really quick. It's just it's a silly article to, for the back page of Sound on Sound, talking about things that you like, that kind of thing. But the point I'm trying to make is that soldering is a very mechanical thing. It's like practice. It's like, for instance, if you're into Warhammer and you wanted to paint your first figure, you could just get like a lump of plastic off a broken thing and paint it, but you get no satisfaction from that. You're doing the process, but if it's not a real figure for the real thing for part of your collection, then what's the point of that? So my comparison is, buy yourself something that you want, that's going to be good in your rack, and give that a go. The only criteria, I would say, that if this is your first kit, then make sure it's through hole only. Make sure that if you're able to look at the instructions beforehand, do so that you know there are some. And no, that's about it. Don't buy something too big. I mean, somebody was talking about doing an M185 as their first project. I mean, there's nothing fundamentally hard about it. It does have one bit of surface mounting there, which is a bit weird, but other than that, it's straightforward, but there's a lot of lining up. There's a lot of getting the faceplate over a bunch of switches. There's all that sort of thing going on. Oh, that reminds me. I'll borrow that a second. One downside of the M185, if I can find one, that's not too bad, that fits on there, is that without lights on, you lose where the switches are very easily. The black against a black background, lighting up black to tell you something has happened, kind of, you know, hot black Daziato style interface. So I was just wondering whether these little caps would work. Maybe coloured ones as opposed to transparent ones, because they don't have any lights in. I think that would be a really good thing. I'll try to remember that. Anyways, so yeah, do that as a kit. That would be great. I do love 4MS. I've got 4MS stuff. What have I got? I've got all my row powers are 4MS. What's an SWN? Oh, Sing Wave Navigator, Spherical Wave. No, I haven't. I mean, that took them 20 years to get that thing out. I was writing "Where Is It Now" articles on that at least 3 years in a row on Gear News, on my roundup at the end of the year, going, "Whatever happened to Spherical Wavetable Navigator?" Well, this year, nobody knows. So I should have a conversation with them sometime, because other than the odd curt email, I've never ever spoken to him. You know, and I'm sure we'd get on like a house on fire. So, Quadrax, okay. The Jaw Analog Filter 8, interesting. Joe Analog Mr. Joe Analog, he does really interesting things that I don't quite understand. I know I've been in this business now a little while, and even in the Eurorack side of things, I've picked up the lingo pretty well, but there's still a level of stuff that I just sort of smile and nod at. And, you know, Joe Analog is one of those. Future Sound Systems is another one of those, where they talk about stuff and I go, I don't really know, but it sounds exciting. Do you... Oh, there's a question there that I've now thrown off the top of the chat. Hang on a sec. Cool, lots of questions this evening, which is great. I like questions. Don't mind answering questions. Do you sometimes do real arrangements, in the sense that you sample your synth creations? No, I don't sample anything. I thought that was a slightly, I don't know, is that an odd question? I don't quite understand what you're saying, John, Mr. Kitlitz. So, I mean, do I do real arrangements, like more than a loop? I try to. I don't find the time very often, but it's something that I'm endeavouring to do. And I am actively looking at trying to fully investigate chords and transposition in Eurorack, because that's something which seems quite difficult. You know, I can do an 8-step loop, 16-step loop, round and round forever. But trying to turn that into some kind of sensible live performance. I mean, usually where I go, at the moment, my live performance prowess tends to be, I have, let's say 6 things. So a bass line, some percussion, a lead line, a drone, some other bits of percussion, maybe 4 things. I don't know. I've got a few things. And so when I play live, which will only be for 20 minutes, because we're talking about like some open mic night type jazz, I'll turn something up, fiddle with the cut off, then bring something else in, and then, I'll drop the kick drum in, that kind of thing. And you're just layering stuff up, taking it in, bringing it out, bringing it in, dropping it out, bringing it in, dropping it out, bringing it in, lots of filtering, and finish. That sort of thing. And that's okay. That's okay for a small set, I think, a small demonstration, or a single track. But but then listening to what I was listening to the other day, How to Destroy Angels, and it's just fantastic. It's just the best, I think. And there's so much chordal stuff going on. Simple. I mean, I could completely do all of that if I just, instead of messing around with this stupid Eurorack, if I just used a keyboard and an arpeggiator on a regular synth, then you could do that till the cows come home. But I'm not. I'm trying to do it in Eurorack for reasons I can't explain. And so that's difficult, and I'm looking into that. So I would like to arrange more. So that means chord changes. It means changing instruments, sort of half patching as you go, maybe. Or maybe what I'm trying to get to is a rig big enough that I've got an entire half a dozen different songs going on in different places that I move to. I don't know. That seems impossible somehow. Anyway. Robin, would you consider getting the Behringer Selena? No, I have absolutely no interest in the Selena at all. Those old string machines, no, they really don't appeal. No, don't appeal. No, Selenas, string machines, vocoders, no, I don't. They're just, I don't, no, I don't. I mean, I like big pads, man. I like big, thick, rich analog pads. I don't like squeaky old 70s strings, particularly. So no, that doesn't interest me in the slightest. As it goes. What's your view on the best effects module? Ooh. Mainly reverb delay. Looking at the dual effects from Erica Synths at the moment. Yeah, cool. Yeah, effects I think is an interesting space that I haven't done enough on. But then it depends on how you're going to use them. Where are you going to use them? Are you going to use them straight in the signal train? Are you trying to mix with them? Because I mean, I've got a mixer section down here, the Tex Mix from Tesseract modular, which is pretty good, and it's got 2 sends on it, which I enjoy using. I've got 1 send wired into the Pico DSP. I'll bring that back in a sec. Oh, wrong channel. So that's the Pico DSP right there. I just have it set to an enormous reverb because that's kind of what I like. And then on the second bus, I got it set up at the moment to the Erica Synth stereo delay. Which I like. So those 2 things I like. I think the Erica Synths are good. I like the dual effects because you're getting 2 things out of it, which is great. And you've actually got ins and outs to accomplish that. Because I sometimes get slightly frustrated by multi-effects in that you end up only using one part of it. I quite like those tip-top ones, the Z5000. I can't remember what it is. They did a bunch of them. One of them's a delay, one of them's a something else, and one of them's a multi-something. I don't know. But so I quite like the idea of having an effects module that does the one thing, that is a reverb, that is a delay, and that way I feel I'm getting the most use out of it, rather than having 8 other effects within it that I can't use or don't use because I've got it wired in as a single use thing, if that makes sense. So the Erica Synth dual effects one looks like a really useful thing to have. So, I mean, at the moment, I tend to use those 2 effects, and I tend to use them just as buses on the mixer. So I'm throwing a bit of everything to it, I suppose. What I do have is a magneto, and I have made a deal with myself to sit down with it and learn it sometime soon. So you can look forward to that one. And then use it as, rather than just something on a bus, use it purposefully within a patch. Use it for real. That's what I want to be doing. Oh, happy nerding. Yes. Sorry, I thought you were just being nice, saying happy nerding, as opposed to you mean happy nerding as the company. Right, okay, sorry. Ba, 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 ba. Andrew says he usually records his creations into Cubase. Yeah, cool. I haven't done that for ages. I mean, the most I would do at the moment is either live stream, because I've found like, oh, this is a really nice patch, I'm just going to live stream it, or I will film it, capture it in that way, and put it out as a thing. I've kind of, the effort it takes for me to set it up, put it into record, and then think about it afterwards, because I know that as soon as I've recorded it into Studio One or Cubase or whatever, I'll then fiddle with it. I'll start putting guitars over the top, and then it will never be done, and it will never get anywhere, and it will never, no one will ever hear it. So for me, I prefer to record it straight into Vegas Pro, which is my video editing software, record it straight into there with video, drop the video on, sync the two up, cut off the crappy bits, and then bosh, it's done, it's out. Does anybody know of any nice sites that sell panel and PCB sets for through whole projects? Yes, ST Modular, st-modular.com, I think, but you can look that up. He has tons of different really interesting cool modules that are just panel and front panel and PCB. So go and check that out. Heartily recommend those. Otherwise, I don't any other than Thonk really is the only place I know that sells kits. Otherwise, direct to manufacturer. If they're smaller places, they tend to do them themselves. You can buy them direct. Magnesium chloride. No, I'm on the morphine, mate. Turing machine would be my first build, said Ken. Yeah, I appreciate, like, I'm answering questions for 20 minutes ago. It's just the way of YouTube messages. But yeah, I agree with Ken. That was my first module. It's an excellent module. But more importantly, the instructions are excellent. And at the other end, you get this incredible machine that you can use in everything. I was using it to control the filter on here. I think, is that still working? I need it being on the other bit, this bit. So I've currently got the Turing machine controlling the filter. I can change that. Oh, I can't reach. So I've got its timing running from the ratchet. Yeah, nuts. What was I talking about? I don't remember. Oh yeah, Turing machine. Yes. Oh, so we managed to do this for an hour. Whoa. All right, we can go a little bit longer. I think I might still. Oh, I don't know. Yeah. Okay, keep at it, fool. Let's keep going. Okay, that's all right. Oh, don't go too far. How are the Look Mum No Computer modules doing? Yes, not doing anything at all. Other than looking at me and me noticing that he's also released another one since I picked up mine. Yes, so the plan with the Look Mum No Computer stuff is that I just need to finish the Decals Dream. That's simple reality. I can't have two big projects on at once. So the Decals Dream needs to be finished first. My current state of play in my crazy world of busyness is that I'm I'm well behind on some writing I promised to do for careersinmusic.com. Well behind on that, sadly. I need to get stuck into that this week. Lots of gear news to do. Sound of Sound stuff again coming up this week. Oh, pardon me. So I've got a busy writing week. Plus, my kids are not going back to school this week because they're in the wrong years, of course. But my wife is, because she's a teacher, but she's not going back all the time. She's going back every other week. So I've got a lot more homeschooling to do myself. So my time has just been completely decimated, which is frustrating, which is why, for instance, last month I did 2 videos. I only managed to get 2 videos done between my Molten monthlies. I did a whole load of live streams, sure, yeah. But actual reviews of stuff, difficult to do and squeeze it all in just at the moment. But I'm going to see what I can do. So next week, amongst the writing, I'm hoping to review the M185 properly. I'd also really like to review the Ratchet, but I still can't quite work out in my head whether I need to build the Perkle first, so I've got more drum sources in order to demonstrate the Ratchet properly. See the quandaries. You just don't know how hard it is out there. You just don't know the decisions I have to make. I don't know. Anyway, we'll see how it goes. And then once I've done that, I think this is important to do first while the interest is high. And the Ratchets, I've had that for too long now, and I really need to get that done. Then I'll get into Decker's Dream, and I'll get that finished. So in the next couple of weeks is the plan, I think. Providing that, I mean, can I solder with my back? Oh, maybe. The drugs are good, so we'll see. Hi, Patrick. Hi, you're in the UK. Wow, you must be just sort of down the road. What? Okay, I don't know what that means. Route Master buses. God, I've missed something here. The Strike Felt. Fet, yes. Yes, Infinite Machinery sells kits. That's a good person to go to. Casatronics, they do stuff. Well worth looking up. I made the VCO here, 3340. It's the same VCO that's in the Neutron that we spoke about a moment ago, and it's in the Crave and things like that. So, yeah, it's a great little module. Good value, easy build, relatively. If you go and check out my video, I would have ironed out all the possible problems and tripwires that you could possibly fall over. So check that out first. Oromorph is the good stuff if you get back spasms. Oh, okay. I want 3 notes on a 16-step sequence. A, E, and F for one note, and have the pitch to be locked. The other 2 notes have to go random A, E, or F. Is there a simple way? Yes! So how would you do that? Well, probably the easiest way to do that is to go through a quantizer, of course. I've got you're not going to be able to see this, so I don't know if there's pointless at the moment. I've got one here. Can you see that? Oh, perhaps a little bit more, but I don't know if I fully understand how to use this one yet. If I do that, can I turn things? If I just do that, no, do that. Oh, no, that. That, no, that's not how I do it. I can't remember what that is. Is that? No, that's not doing it. What notes did you want? A, E, and F. So that's, where am I? That's A. So what you would do, right, if you're not faffing around like I am, who hasn't read the manual on this yet, and so it's just using kind of the presets. Okay, good. I've got, I think, 3 notes. Is my understanding. So if I was to take the output of my sequencer here, for instance, which is, where's the notes going? The notes is going into that. So I need to have the notes come out. So sequencer into quantizer. Then wow, that worked too easily. Then quantizer into oscillator. Yeah? You keeping up with this? If I've worked this right, this should just work. So 1 second. Is that the 3 notes you're after? So you want 3 notes. And you want one of them to be the pitch locked. Alright, I'm going to have it on that one. And the other ones to be something else. See, there you go. Simple. Yeah. So if you want one note to stay and the other ones to vary, no, I've no idea. Probably better to have the other note play with 2 sequences. So you play something which gives you a rest, then 2 notes, and the other one that gives you just that note or something. So no, I can't answer your question. Is there a simple way? No, it's not a simple way. I mean, you could, having those 3 notes there, you could pump in the touring machine, for instance, that I've got from over there, and then it will just make beautiful music. I need it to be running. Alright, now I'm confused. So that... Oh, that's completely backwards, that's why. How am I doing that then? No, that's right. But this is coming from the touring machine. But that's still playing the gate. Okay, that's what's confusing me. So let's forget about the gate and just have the thing on, in which case I need... There's your 3 notes from a touring machine into a quantizer. But how can you make that one note be the one note all that time? No, I don't know. No idea. Interesting question though. Right, moving on. Am I going to start out in adding dirt and grizzle? Sure, you're listening to this. Yeah, maybe. I do need some distortion in there somewhere. Okay. ST modular is mostly surface mount. Oh, okay. Fair enough. Any plans to try to acquire a subharmonicon? Now, sometimes there's this weird sort of thing that happens when, because working for Gear News, a news site, you get contacted by lots of PR agencies who are pushing various products. And there's this one particular one who are great. I mean, I think he's a nice bloke and he just makes me laugh. So he tells us about stuff and goes, would you like one for review? It's kind of like it's standard copied and pasted onto the bottom of his email, which always says, if you'd like one for review, just get in touch. And so I kind of do nearly every time. And he goes, oh, right, well, we'll have a look. And then he comes back, so like 6 months later going, no, there just wasn't any. Or we weren't able to get you one. With the exception of the ADAC stuff, the ADAC 104, he did end up sending me one of those, which was awesome. And I had a bit of a play and did a review of that. That was great. But I mean, it might not be the same guy. I can't remember. But anyway, when I got the embargoed information through on the subharmonicon, if that's how you pronounce it, somebody's made me doubt that I'm doing that right. Anyway, it said, if you'd like one for review, let me know. So I said, yeah, I'd like one for review very much. They went, oh, yeah, right, oh, no problem. And then came back a couple of days later saying, well, there don't seem to be any. So I don't really know with what authority he declares that I can have a review module in the first place, or who he goes and asks afterwards. But one of these days, that's going to pay off. So he said, once I become available, they'll certainly send me one, which is great. So I should be able to try that out at some point. It makes me scratch my head a bit, but it is the sort of thing you need to play with by itself, I think. It's very much an instrument that you would explore in its own right, as opposed to just dropping it into a larger setup. Shirt's all right. Yeah, I quite like it. Yeah, it was a slight departure for me. I usually like an interesting tonal colour to begin with, as opposed to black or white as a starting point. And in some ways, I thought it looked a little bit Christmassy. I think I got it around Christmas time, but it doesn't actually. It's actually quite nice flowers. So yeah, I quite like it. Although it does have some of these shirts from wherever it is I get them from. I can't remember. Has a bit of a crinkle to it, which sometimes comes across on the microphone, which is annoying. But there we go. Sorry, that jumped again. Hang on. Suggestions for a decent USB MIDI host. I'm not entirely sure what you mean by that. MIDI host? For what? A MIDI host for Eurorack? MIDI host, do you mean MIDI interface? Not sure. So if you can ask that question in a more detailed or larger sense, then that would be great. Music shops in Sheffield. Nice. Subharmonic, yeah? Subharmonicon. What have I been saying? Subharmonicon? I don't know. I don't care, really. Cool, well, I seem to have got to the bottom. That's good. Right, great. Yeah, I'm probably going to have to wind this up quite soon because I'm getting really uncomfortable sitting here. And that's not going to do me any good. So, if you have any more last minute burning questions, do throw them in down the bottom. Otherwise we'll come to a stop. Trying to think what I got coming up. I mean, was there anything in this month's Molten Monthly that anyone has any commentary upon, or anything that I missed out massively? Somebody had mentioned the ARP 2600 filter from G-Storm, I think it is, which yeah, indeed I did miss. They've been building, I mean, G-Storm seems to be gradually building all sorts of clones of little bits and pieces. I really like the SH101 bits he did. Oh, crikey, suddenly a whole load of comments have come in. I think my system just like juddered for a moment there. Probably need to see this on another screen. Anyway. How am I managing to keep on top of the lockdown hair situation? Well, funnily enough, I had a haircut just as it was happening, and talking to my barber, she was saying how she doesn't know what she's going to do, because as soon as the country goes into lockdown, then she can't be doing anything. They were already wearing gloves at that point, and talking about what on earth are they going to do. So I'm quite interested to find out how she did ultimately during this time. So I had my hair quite short to start with, so it's all right, and I don't mind my hair long as long as it doesn't just go too puffy. I don't mind. I get away with it. I get away with my hair often. Thank you very much for noticing. Yeah, it'll be all right. I'll be in touch with the doctors tomorrow to get something prescribed, I should think. I'll be all right. Yeah, so in terms of what's coming up, I do have a live stream organised for the 15th of June with Tim Exile from Endless. He has, or is this week, I believe, launching their Kickstarter on their desktop version of their Endless app. If you're unfamiliar with it, where have you been? But Endless is this great collaboration app. A simple idea that you're all playing along to a loop that's held online. So this sort of loop song goes round and you add something to it, and then that creates a new loop, and then everyone adds to that or takes away from it or filters it or adds effects to it. It's a fun thing, and they're developing it to be part of your desktop door, so you can run it inside there, I think, so you can make it much easier to collaborate in a more than a fun way. I mean, they've tried to make it kind of fairly pro in as much as the tools that they offer, and they've been pushing it definitely in that way, but ultimately there's only so much you can do with a phone, trying to plug yourself into a phone and try to do that properly. So once it's running on a desktop on a door, then that could get a whole lot more interesting and could genuinely become a proper collaboration tool, I think. So yeah, so he's popping along, and he's a great guy, Tim. He's brilliant. I love everything that he's programmed and created over the years for things like Reactor and for Native Instruments, various instruments and bits and pieces. He's a lovely guy. I've spoken to him a lot at various events when I've ran into him. He's great, so I'm looking forward to talking to him. In fact, just letting him talk, I think, is probably more accurate. So we're having a proper live stream chat on the 15th. I am trying to get some other things organised as well. It's just, again, finding the time. But I have that one at least, and I'll get a shortcut up to that at some point. The other thing I wanted to mention was the Microsoft thing that happened Friday night. It was. They've resurfaced. Very mysterious. It was essentially a live gig done in our lockdown way, so different musicians in different places, all live streaming at the same time, but playing in time, in sync. We're talking about drums, guitar, singing, bass, that kind of thing. How did they do that? That's the question. And they have said, Microsoft have said that, look, we're using our Mixer platform. Mixer is like Twitch, a bit like, it's a live streaming platform for gamers. And they're trying to put forward the idea that this could be really good for bands because it has, presumably, is what I'm trying to understand, it has such low latency that it's possible to actually do live performances live streamed from different places. At least that's what we were seeing. And it seemed genuine. I mean, obviously they were using really posh cameras and really posh gear and doing it properly. They had video effects and stuff going on. And it was nice. It was a nice little gig. But actually how they made it work, I don't know. But they're doing a presentation about it, a workshop about it on the 8th of June, I think it is, on YouTube. Could be the 6th. Can't remember now. Anyway, and that might be worth checking out because It's very interesting. And there's not a whole lot of music on Mixer yet. Mixer is essentially built into the Xbox, and so it's great for gamers to stream to. But it is an open platform like Twitch is, and so it could be a place for live streaming music. Perhaps. Is there an audience out there? Don't know. But you just don't know. I mean, the other thing they had was this interactive element. And that was corny, unfortunately. The idea is, because if you're a gamer live streaming stuff, there's often pauses while you're loading up things or waiting to get into a server, and so you chat to your people, but you can also run little games at the same time and have them playing games. Interactiveness. And so that translated into this gig in that these 4 buttons came up where you could either press on the clap button, on the horns button, or I think there was a heart, I don't know how to do that, heart button, one of those. And so you clicked on them and then nothing happened, and then suddenly a whole load of hearts went up, or a whole load of, it didn't make any sense. But apparently the idea is that you can show your appreciation to the musicians who aren't probably looking at the stream because they're too busy performing, in order to show your appreciation, because obviously there's no audience for them to hear the clapping of, so is that, I don't know, I guess it was something. But I wasn't that impressed with that particular bit of it. But otherwise, yeah, fascinating, interesting to find out what that's all about. I had another thought then, and then I've lost it. What was that other thought? Or maybe that was the thought I was thinking about before. That I was talking about the last thing. No, I think that's it. So, yeah, any last minute things? Another case of Microsoft ASIO. It's never going to happen. It's just not ever going to happen. Never, ever going to happen. Yeah, I mean, you can get very low lag, but it's not click track lag. Someone playing drums play along to lag. That's a whole different thing. Yeah. Yeah, all right, so let's call that a night then. I'm going to go and rest myself somewhere. So thanks ever so much for joining in, coming along. It's lovely to see people in the chat. That's always great. Sorry that I didn't have anything extraordinary to bring, but it's been nice just chatting with you good people and having a bit of a chin wag, having another further play with this. I mean, if nothing else, when I put on these live streams, it makes me tidy my rack up, which is a great thing. It was so good putting everything out of here earlier today, just getting a little bit of clarity to things. That's always good. So, yeah, thanks for sticking around, and I wish you all the best. Stay safe out there. We're in a weird world, and let's just keep smiling, keep making music, keep expressing ourselves, and being as nice to each other as you can possibly can. So, until next time, go and make some tunes, and I'll see if I can wrestle this back into a tune for a couple of minutes. I really took it apart, didn't I? Because that's now going over there. See, that's a disaster. So let's go. But that's okay. It's this bit which isn't going anywhere. This bit. Go.